guys of your pedigree got a many signature thing and stuff like that, but you're creating your own brand, which very few does. So basically, why and what is the goal of KHDK Electronics?
Well, I just is because other than I thought it was just a really cool idea. I really was motivated to expand on the Tube Screamer, and when Dave Karon, my partner, said let's do a pedal company, the very first thing I said was let's break open that Tube Screamer and see what we got and see what we can add to it and improve on it. And don't get me wrong, Tube Screamer is fantastic, and I've been using it for 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
But there's been certain instances here and there, and particularly in the studio, where I felt it would be great if I had a little bit more compression, or if I had a little bit more variance in tone, maybe a little bit more, output, or maybe a little bit more just like bass frequency, And I was never able to get it out of the Tube Screamer. I always had to put a parametric EQ up against it, or a Boss, or EQ or something. But for the Ghoul Screamer, all my problems were solved with
all the little knobs, I guess,
exactly,
the bottom line, right?
and I love the fact that there's a compression switch on there too. It really just makes a big difference. We did this because it sounded like a cool thing, and I have a ton of fucking crazy fucking ideas for pedals, and we found an incredible engineer in Antonin, and we just kind of went with it. I really like the number 1 Overdrive and number 2 Overdrive. Number 1 Overdrive is so friggin' transparent, and and the 2 Overdrive is even more transparent. Perfect for country, blues, and jazz. Even though I don't know if you would really use it for jazz, but it's a perfect pedal for all the other things that you need it for other than hard rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you use your Tube Screamer, if you were just using it as a clean boost, with the volume max gain at 0, just to boost the solos, or sometimes to boost
I
the front end of the preamp.
I actually use the tone.
Use the tone, but
yeah. So I was using it a little bit for a little bit of a boost, but more for that extra gain and that extra tubey sound that I love. That
not necessarily only for the solo, sometimes also for chunky rhythms.
Sometimes
to tighten up the bass.
Sometimes I would use it for that. Back in the day, I would definitely use it for that. When we just had Marshalls.
The Marshalls, yeah.
Yeah, and we wanted a little bit more gain on certain parts. We would definitely I would step on my Tube Screamer and play the heavier parts, until we started getting the boogies and dialing in all that really great gain stages. And then I stopped using the Tube Screamer for that and just used it more so for solos. And now every time I play a guitar solo, live or in the studio, there's either a Tube Screamer or a Ghoul Screamer on it. There was a Tube Screamer, now there's a Ghoul Screamer on it. This one is the fun pedal. I mean, it's really fuzzy. It's based after a geranium type boost, but with more kind of more fuzzier. And then you have the Scuzz switch, which gives it a random sort of modulation. So you never really know what might come out of this Scuzz. It could be anything, and that's the cool thing about this pedal.
And there's some fuzz better to run a big muff into a clean amp. The first phase more for dirty stuff.
This is basically much better with a clean amp.
Yeah.
As these two are great. Actually, all these are great with clean amps. When I think about it, this is actually based after a French Overdrive pedal.
Really?
Yeah, that I bought in France about 20 years ago, and I'd never seen another one like it. And
do you remember the brand of it?
I don't remember the brand. I gave the pedal to Dave, and I said, "Let's do what we did with the Tube Screamer. Break this open and see what we can do with it, and see how we can improve it." and what we got was this, the Dark Blood gain,
which seems to be like plenty of gain and
super gain. Again, you can get like a Fender twin reverb to sound as distorted as a Marshall or a Boogie or fucking, you know,
so
whatever.
to be used with a clean amp, like on a clean channel. And
and like, you know, a step on that and you have tons of gain and distortion, and it's just like you can take the gain and put it at like, you know, 9 o'clock and go, oh, that's about 70s gain. You know, put it at 11 o'clock, oh, that's 80s gain. You know, put it at 1 or 2 o'clock, that's 90s gain. You know, crank it all away, that's, you know, grunge.
Yeah.
You know, because that grunge stuff to me was like the most gainiest stuff. You know, it's always like, because they needed to go from really like, you know, light to like really heavy, or that's what Nirvana did. And then this is a great pedal for that. The Abyss is a wonderful bass amp, or bass overdrive. Now, being a guitar player, you know, I rely on my bass player friends' feedback, and the feedback I've gotten from them is that's just incredible.
Did Robert use it, like to try to play like Orion or Pulling Teeth or something like that?
He has a copy of it. I just gave it to him like 3 days ago, and you know, it's basically you know, a variation of the number one. It has some of number one in its design, but I mean, it's made for bass. You know, I really can't tell you that much about it, bro. You know,
don't use it.
Yeah, because
it's the best.
Because I tried it a couple times. I told Dave what we needed for it, and then he kind of like filled it out from filled out the sound, because as a guitar player, I don't really have that much to suggest for a bass overdrive.
You're known for the wah sound as well. You got a signature wah with Dunlop already, but I mean, KHDK has to get a wah, I guess, at some point.
All good things in all good time. What we're getting into now is the modulation phase.
Yeah, because right now it's only gain pedal.
We're doing things, you know, by category, and we're going to start like looking into different modulation type effects now.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the new thing. I actually have like I have a bag with 4 pedals that I have to like plug in, start turning knobs and switching switches and taking notes, and it takes a while to do.
And yeah, since it's called like KHDK Electronics and not KHDK pedals, I guess the door is open for other things, right?
Exactly.
Can be racks, amps.
We didn't want to get stuck into any sort of category, even though technically we come out, it's a pedal company now. Mm-hmm. You know, if we feel that it's appropriate to expand in the right direction and go into other musical gear, I mean, you know, it's a possibility, but you know, the right thing has to come up, you know, the right situation has to come up. And what we have now is really, really great, and we want to make sure that we can maintain the quality of it and grow the company, and you know, get the word out there. And you know, it's my job to get these pedals into all these other musicians' hands. You know, like I've sent them to like the guitar player in Elton John's band, David Johnstone. He loves it. I gave them to this guy named Kirk, who plays in the Roots, into like blues players' hands, country players' hands. I want the message out there that these are not just like hard rock, heavy metal pedals. They're pedals for all sorts of music, all kinds of music. And you know, that Super Overdrive, I think, Overdrive number 2 is one of our most versatile overdrives, in that it's super clean, and you can pretty much use it for blues. You know, you can use it for jazz, you can use it for country, you can use it for rock. I mean, it's super versatile.
Yeah, and you can boost as well, like a metal amp.
Yeah. And if you have a metal amp, I mean, you know, that pedal I think is great for all genres. Whereas Dark Blood, you know, is only if you're a hard rocking heavy metal kind of like grungy kind of, you know, person who just loves like super distorted, thick, ugly sounds. I mean, you know, Dark Blood is for you.
Okay, and so now let's talk about your amplification. Like obviously, like we touched on it, like you went from Marshall to Boogie and now Randall since 10 years, maybe something like that.
Yeah, Randall.
You're using the KH103, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you blend like still the dual rectifier with like your signature RAM head. You blend both heads at the same time.
Yeah. Dual rectifier with my Randall meatball, and in the studio, you know, sometimes for leads, I'll put a Marshall in there too because I still love Marshall sound.
Upper mid bite. And
Yeah,
like
you know,
that.
just to give it a little bit more cut, you know, a bit more of a classic sound. It's a mid 80s,
So it must be a JCM 800,
maybe
I guess.
early 80s modified Marshall.
Oh yeah, like on the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, I have this one Marshall and I just use it, and I've been using it since load reload, you know, era, and I blend it in with my Marshall and or blend it in with my Boogie and my Randall in the studio, and it sounds great.
And as far as guitar goes, like of course you have many ones. I noticed a new one like the KHDC, I think, which is double cut.
Yeah, I just wanted to, you know, a Les Paul type guitar that wasn't a Les Paul. So
Okay.
that's what I came up with. And you know, it's cool. It's good for you know, songs that need a Les Paul, like Fade to Black.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like
Yeah.
Greeny, Peter Green guitar.